Hey friends, Peggy Hall here with you from thehealthyamerican.org. I know I'm streaming earlier than I normally do. It is Friday, the end of the week, and I have some news that I could not wait to share with you. So thanks to those of you that are here with me live, those that will be watching the replay, glad to have you on board as well. I normally live stream every afternoon, Monday through Friday, sometimes with a little bonus added in on the weekends. Listen, I called the FDA today. Yes, I did. I saw so many emails and little tweets and Twitters and all of these different posts about the FDA changing its EUA, its emergency use authorization. And I'm going to say it. I'm going to say the V word because apparently it's all out in the open now and I can say COVID vaccine. Oh my goodness. I've said cooties cocktail for the last few years. It feels strange to not say it that way. So I think I'm still going to say cooties cocktail. And I have my own phraseology for a lot of things. I talk about the hogwash that they're sloshing all over us. I talk about those employees that have been discriminated against at the woke place. And there are the public serpents. There are so many of these terms and phrases that I've coined, partly because I want to make a point, and also I want to outwit the nitwits who might be trying to censor me here. So I think it's fun. I think I'm up to the challenge. I don't mind. We have our own language going on, and that's just how I like it. I'm going to tell you exactly what the FDA told me. I cannot even believe that I was able to speak to someone on the phone. Have you ever called the FDA? Have you ever called the CDC? I have done both of those things. I did that way back in the early days of the hogwash. And I even called the health departments in different states. I remember speaking to the health officer in Chicago telling me exactly what has come out and what did come out in the news in terms of they were not even counting those deaths correctly. So glad everybody can catch me live. Hey, Valerie, one of our lovely moderators, she's going to be holding down the fort for us this afternoon. I caught you off guard, but thank you for being here. I've got a little scheduling conflict and I couldn't wait to tell you this news. But let me first tell you the message from our sponsor this afternoon. So we are going to hop right on over to c60evo.com and then it's /Peggy Hall. And it's warm enough now for hiking, for biking, for swimming, which is what I like to do now that the swimming pools are back open. And I really want to feel good. You know that that is something that I value in my life so that I have enough energy to bring you these programs day in and day out. So I take this C60 Evo olive oil in the morning, and I'm telling you, it gives me amazing results all day long. It improves my mental focus, my clarity to complete projects, and most important for me, it helps me sleep better at night. I definitely have more energy and endurance, and I do not get sick. It's just something that I don't do. I'm not going to participate in that. So even my hair, my skin have improved thanks to the C60 EVO, which works. Now they sell 3 potent edible oils, and you can see that here. There's the virgin olive oil, the MCT coconut oil, and the avocado oil. They also make exceptional anti-aging face and lip serums for both men and women. You can see that here. Their new C60 Evo hair renewal with peptides is getting rave reviews, and everything is made here in the United States in their USA Patriot lab. They do ship all over the world. So treat yourself, treat your pets because they can take it as well. And those you love to these healthy products, which really improve your life. You can save on the bundled sets. That's 15% off of the single bottle prices. And if you do a monthly subscription, you get 20% off. And if you just want to use my code, it's Peggy H, you will get 10% off your order. I'll have the link for you in the description box below. Friends, I was seeing so many tweets and posts and videos and links to the FDA's announcement that the EUA, the emergency use authorization for both, well, let me tell you exactly what happened. I was getting confused, and many people were getting confused because they say, well, wait a minute. So you're telling me that these cooties cocktails are no longer have an emergency use authorization? Have they been approved? Let's backtrack just for a moment. There are 2 different categories here for drugs at the FDA. There is the authorization, which means in an emergency, a drug can get an emergency use authorization, and that has the acronym EUA. Now, they bamboozled a lot of people in the early days because people thought that that meant approved. Even here on lovely YouTube, their guidelines still say that no YouTuber can speak out against approved cooties cocktails. And I contacted YouTube and I said, there is no approved cooties cocktails. There are only authorized. They didn't even know the difference and they have never changed their guidelines. So I guess I can speak out about it because only one was approved. And I'm going to tell you about exactly what the FDA told me. So people were saying, does that mean they're taken off the market? What about those of us, not us, and not y'all, I know you haven't done it, but those that got bamboozled into becoming a human pincushion, what about them? Are they supposed to continue on with that series? What has changed? And where's the science and the research to back that up? Those are the questions that I had and that many of us had. But I'm not sure if people actually did what I did, and I called the FDA. So before we go any further, let me show you how easy it is. We're going to go right on over to the fda.gov, and here we go. I'm going to share my screen, hopping right on over. Now, I know that the FDA, somebody's watching my videos because I did a video in the early days with a page from the FDA that said that the N95s do not, how can I put this delicately, protect you from death or illness, that it's just, you know, they actually don't do that. They might protect you from other kinds of things. And they took that page down after I exposed it in a video. So I know someone there at the FDA, and there was something else that came to me and I'm like, oh, I feel like they're watching my videos because they're responding to something that I said. I thought that was really interesting. So here we go. This was their update. I'm filming on April 21st. This came out on April 18th, so just a couple of days ago. And it says the FDA authorizes changes to simplify the use of the bivalent cocktail. And that's how the woman was pronouncing it. So when you read this, I found it rather confusing. It says, and I will have a link for you below if you want to read this as well. I couldn't figure it out, so I called the FDA myself. And here we go, all the way down to the bottom. You scroll down, and if you're in the media, you can call this number. If you're a consumer, you can call this number. I called the consumer number, and I left a message. I even left my phone number. I have a feeling they already have my phone number. The government already has it. They probably have a lot of things on me, and that's all right. So I left a message and I said, I have some questions about the EUA authorization. Does that mean that there has been an application for a license? Because here's the difference. When a drug is fully approved by the FDA, they get a license number. And that means that it has gone through whatever the FDA requires in order for the FDA approval. Now, before I go on, let me give you a little sidetrack here, a little detour. If you've been following my channel for any length of time, you probably know, because I've said it many times, that the suffocation devices and the nasal assault, they are not FDA approved. That means they are a medical experiment because they have not been licensed by the FDA to do what people are using it to do. Now, the surgical device that people have been wearing, not all y'all or me, but the others, that is a class 2 device, medical device, classified by the FDA, not to limit the spread of cooties or any other cooties, but so nobody's drooling, nothing's coming into the mouth and nose of the doctors and nurses, but it was not approved for the use that we were told to use it for. I just hope you understand that. That was one of the principles that many people stood on at their woke place to say, how can you require me to keep my job by participating in a medical experiment? It's a medical experiment. This never approved. There is no approved assault, spit in the cup, fill in the blank for cooties. That's right. Might be surprising to you. Those are emergency use authorizations, which means they have not gone through the full requirements in order to apply. And it's called BLA, Biologic License Application. That's when a company like Moderna or Pfizer or someone says, hey, we have a new drug. here's all of the data that we've done. Here's all of the studies. Here's how many people died and blah, blah, blah. And here is the information that we want to submit to you in order to get our drug approved, BLA. So now that we have the background, even media was calling, and I had my videos taken down when I called out the Wall Street Journal for having headlines that say, second approved cocktail. And I called them and I wrote to them, and many of you joined me in that effort saying, it's not approved, it's authorized, and there's a difference. I got a strike on my channel. That video was even taken down by BitChute. Yes, indeedy, taken down by BitChute because I was speaking the truth. Here we go. I called and I left a message. I thought they're never going to call me back. Well, about half an hour later, I get a phone call and I can see that it's the FDA. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know. I gave him my number. What can I say? I make some sacrifices in the name of freedom. Amy is on the phone, lovely Amy. And she said, how can I help you? I said, I have a couple of questions about this EUA and the cocktails, and I'm trying to figure it out. And she said, okay, here is what it is. The monovalent, meaning there is one strain in the cocktail. And that was for both Pfizer and Moderna. She said that is no longer under an emergency use authorization. And I said, oh, does that mean that it's been approved? And she said, oh no, it hasn't been approved. Those are no longer going to be used or promoted, or that's not what we're using anymore. Those are done. Get this. She said, even the Comirnaty, which did have, it was the only cocktail that was approved by the FDA. I don't know if anybody ever got it. That was another interesting thing. It's like, who is distributing that? And how do you know if you're getting it? And why was that one approved and the others weren't? I have so many questions. And she basically said that the Comirnaty is no longer in use. Those were her, I wrote down all of my notes. And she said it is no longer in use. What they have now is a bivalent, meaning there are two strains. I guess the original one and the, I'm sorry, I don't really want to laugh. It's not a laughing matter. They called it Omicron. Yeah, it covers that one now. So there are two strains in the bivalent. And she said that here was my next question. I said, well, my understanding is that an EUA can only be in force during an emergency, during the, excuse me, demic. And the emergency in the United States is going to end on May 11th. So what happens to these emergency use authorizations? Here's what she said. The FDA said, there is no time frame. There is no time limit on the emergency use authorizations. She said, these cocktails remain under the EUA. The bivalent Pfizer and the bivalent Moderna, she told me on the page, the link that I'm going to leave for you, there are fact sheets there if you want to read more. And then she said, in June, the FDA is going to have their advisory committee meet again. And I didn't want to push too far on this first phone call because I wanted to kind of establish a relationship so I could call back and ask more questions. But I want to know who made this decision to get rid of the monovalent and to just get rid of the EUA. Like, who decided that? How did that happen? Maybe it is in the document. She kept referring me to the documents and it just was a little confusing to me. And then she said, this one really gets me. She said, no company has submitted their application for the biological license. No company has submitted, I'm just going to repeat it, any application for the BLA, the biologic license application, which means those cocktails are not, it's not on the horizon that they are going to be authorized, which means good news for you and me and others that are going to stand on the fact, not only can we stand on the fact that we have a sovereignty over our body and our own medical health choices, but the fact that it is still a medical experiment. I hope everybody understands that. You have a right of no consent to any medical intervention and certainly to a medical experiment. And there are stronger safeguards for the medical experiments. You have to have informed consent. There have been videos going around where the informed consent, the paperwork that went along with the cocktail was blank. I don't need to do that video because they're out there. And I don't know if that was just a rare occasion or if that's the fact of the matter. So those of you, hopefully you're no longer being pressured, intimidated, coerced, threatened, and bullied into becoming a human pincushion in order to keep your job, in order to have your, if you're a college student or going into a training program, going into the military, I think where they really are going after people is still with like cruise lines and things. I'm not sure, I don't do that, but that may be one area. And then of course, medical treatments and hospitals. My inkling and what I believe is going to happen is next month, we're going to see the hospitals ease off of that. I'm going to share with you, not today, but in an upcoming video, a letter that came from the VA, not the FDA, the Veterans Administration. I have so many lovely, healthy Americans that work for the federal government, and I will share that with you. And you will see the gaslighting that's going on and how now they're just trying to sweep everything under the carpet. Like, oh, thank you for all your service these last few years. And now we're going back to normal. So for those of you that have been putting off your medical care, and hopefully you've been the better for it. I've heard from healthy Americans who said they're feeling better because they're not going to the doctor all this time, and the little aches and pains that they were going to have surgery for, those are fading away. Not in every case, but many people told me that. But if you are suffering, I hope that you will find the remedies that you need, ideally through not the mainstream medical merry-go-round, but I do see light at the end of the tunnel. So there you have it, friends. Pick up the phone, call the FDA, get your questions answered. I was polite. I was just asking for information. She was very polite. We wished each other a happy weekend. And that is how we can conduct ourselves to get this information. So I hope that was interesting for you. I'm going to sign off for now. Thanks everybody for being on board with me at this earlier time frame. And I will be, yes, B says, are they on the childhood cocktail schedule? Yes, they are. And this goes to the parents. Parents have got to be educated to understand that these are just guidelines. These are guidelines, my friends. You have the right to choose or decline any medical intervention, any medical interaction, any cocktail, any drug, any procedure, any surgery. It's up to you. It doesn't matter if they are recommended, in my view. I'm not going to participate. So here's what we need to do. We need to educate people, send them this video. I will do another video if you're interested in this about the schedule and what that means. I've done videos before called shots for tots, which really troubles me because they're doing all this stuff right with newborns, which does not need to be done in my non-medical opinion. So we do need to get the word out. It doesn't matter if it's on their schedule, and none of this is required. We have helped people, my husband and I, Pastor David, we are really helping the college students now who are really being bullied and pressured to become human pincushions. So if you know of any college students that are struggling, send them our way. Go to thehealthyamerican.org. I've got some free videos here on the YouTube channel, and then all of my videos are over at peggyhall.tv, behind the vault. We also help people that are applying for new jobs. And sometimes these cases go on for some time where the employer is trying to, pull some funny business and apply their slimy tactics. We know how to push back against every objection an employer has, and it's legal. I'm not giving legal advice, but the pushback is legal, and it's simple, and you can help educate the employers, the healthcare providers, and your fellow healthy Americans. All right, friends, thank you so much for being on board. Can't wait to read all of your comments. I will see you soon in an upcoming video. Maybe, just maybe, I'll do an extra little bonus video this weekend. Otherwise, you can always see me back here Monday through Friday. Look forward to seeing you, everybody. I have my other channel. Check that out, Living Swell. It's here on YouTube, Living Swell with Peggy Hall. It's all about encouragement. We set aside a lot of this hogwash that's being sloshed all over us. So I want you to keep your head above the waves and look forward to smoother sailing and brighter days ahead.